everybody, welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me.
Down the inside,
absolutely impossible scene.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We'll go bust. We got our elbows out.
Bronner takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Jarno Watmere is your champion.
Hello, good evening and a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to PSGL. You just arrived at PC Tier F number 3 and round number 10 is finally upon us. We've reached the final few races of the season and the fight is as close as ever in this tier. My name is Frostbreath and joining me tonight once again for the second week in a row actually is Alex. So welcome and how are you doing? Yeah, the top two last week did not score a podium. P5 for Gregory and P9 only for Isaac Lead. Both of them didn't really have a great time in Japan. Gregory came close. Isaac Lead simply wasn't really there. He did start from the back, or actually dropped to the back, and managed to fight his way back to a P9 to score a few crucial points. But now, as you can see here in the standings, the top four separated. Yeah, it's only 10 points in between Isaac Lead and Tom Roberts in fourth. Campbell Adams now up to third place, having won last week's race in Japan, up to 59 points. He's only 9 points away. And Gregory, of course, ever since he lost the championship lead against Isaac Lead in Qatar, has been clawing back race after race. And now the difference between the first two drivers is only 2. So, Alex, it's getting quite hot up there. And I'm expecting some fireworks in Vegas.
Important if something goes your way, but yeah, 2 points to Gregory Pujibel, to Isaac Lee, then only 9 points back is Campbell Adams, then Tom Roberts 10. That top four is close, and today could be a day where it might close up even more. We might have a change in the championship leader, so it's exciting. It's looking forward to these final 3 rounds as the drama is going to hot up, and yeah, I think there will be some fireworks in Vegas. Let's see who that's in favour of.
Yeah, of course. Last week we had a new driver among us. It was Oleg Napodovsky. He managed to claim pole position in the qualifying in Japan and then finished second in the race. So a brilliant start to him. He's now all the way up to P17 in the standings from absolutely nowhere, on par with Rens Thomason, who gained his first podium last week with P3 after having a lot of did not starts and 1 point finish, 1 DNF. Now he's finally managed to get up to the podium. Unfortunately, Rens is not with us tonight. I'm not sure about Oleg. I haven't seen him in the lobby yet, so let me quickly check the attendance list. If Oleg is there. No, he's declined, so he will not be present with us tonight. But we do see some other names returning from a long time ago. In fact, it's Zach Miles, for example, who's back in business. What can we expect from him?
You never know, and especially when you're coming back after quite a lengthy break. Clear mind, you go again and you just do your best. And it would have been nice to see Oleg back again for the second time in a row, because he did a magnificent job last week. I'm sure we'll see him soon. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's always exciting as well when there is someone who hasn't been here in a while and coming back, because you never know how they're going to perform. And yeah, it's all question marks heading into the race and what they can do to try and mix things up.
Yeah, the other two reserves tonight in the Haas, Riley Mackay, Lucas Serra in the Aston Martin, and Zach Miles will be joining in the second Williams in the place of Rens Thomason. Fortunately, all 4 championship contenders are present. Isaac Lead, Gregory Pujibel, Campbell Adams and Tom Roberts are all present with us tonight alongside their teammates. Tom Roberts alongside Wojtek Steg as usual. Gregory is teamed up once again with Philippe Sousa, Isaac Leeds. This time we'll have Zach Miles alongside him. Let's see what they can potentially do together. And Campbell Adams once again is teamed with Valentino Labella in the Alpine cars. Furthermore, we've got Ryan Modler in the Kick Sauber alongside Rahard Sprogus, who actually just joined the lobby. Zalan Bieder in the Aston Martin. And he's currently the only Aston Martin in because we're still waiting for Lucas Serra. Both Haas cars are in. It's Riley Mackay and Steven Vaso with Tomasetto Ilia and Tudor Pressicum in the McLarens. Then only one Red Bull present at the moment, Boba in the single Red Bull, as we're still waiting on 2 drivers to join the lobby. They've actually officially have run out of time, so I believe we should be on our way. Let's hope it starts soon. Let's see who else is there. I see there in the Visa Cash app are Racing Bulls, aka the V-Carbs, Tamas Kokeny alongside Daniel Kuijer. It's difficult to predict, of course, who is a contender for pole position, but is it safe to say, perhaps, that it might be amongst the familiar 4?
It could be. I feel like Vegas could be one way. It throws a different name into the mix. Overall, I think it's mainly you're going to be looking out for that first real sector and the first few corners and the grip on the rears at turn number 3. Then as you head into the second sector, the start of the second sector is probably arguably the most important part for qualifying, especially at the tricky chicane. So, I mean, it's going to be. I don't know. You never know how to predict Vegas because you look into the race and it's just DRS train, overtakes on the back straight, and yeah, I mean the gaps in qualifying I think are going to be really really close today, and let's just see who can try and top him and yeah, come out ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, I mean this is Las Vegas, so things are difficult to predict in general. Well, we're actually about to head to the track. It's going to be dark as usual. We do not know anything about the weather. We know that the game can throw in some rain here and there around this track, although it's quite rare. It is still definitely possible, but I do expect dry most likely to happen. But you never really know. Might throw some interesting spanners in the works of these drivers and spice things up potentially. And then we'll see how things will turn out. As we all know, F1 is using multiplayer cars for qualifying. However, all the other tiers are not. So we'll actually be in the regular cars as per usual. We're heading to the track right now. Still waiting on 2 drivers, Lucas Serra being one of them. Let's hope they'll join very soon indeed. Let's see how things are here. Lap data enabled, full track map on right now. The upside down pig, familiar track shape here of Las Vegas as usual. And soon we'll find out which car's the first to get out on track.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's a V-carb coming out of the pit lane at the first laps of the day. And this could be important to get the first one in, just to get that delta time on there. I know a lot of drivers prefer having a delta on there, just you know where to improve and something to work towards. But yeah, at the moment we've got Tamas Kokeny, Tomasetto Ilia, Zalan Bieder, Ryan Modler and Boba all out on the track with a few more joining them, heading down to into the first sector. Now into the second sector goes the V-carb. But yeah, here we go then. 3 rounds to go, including this one, and let's start with an absolute bang. And let's close up in the championship. Let's keep it as competitive as possible. But yeah, let's see what lies in this fantastic Las Vegas qualifying.
Yeah, I'm also curious to see how Zach Miles will do, the newest competitor here in this tier. Let's see how he holds up against everybody else. But of course, our focus will obviously have to be on those fighting for the championship. The top 4, as I said, separated by only 10 points. It is incredibly tight up there. And do keep in mind, in PSGL, first place only grants you 16 points. So gap closures are quite difficult to manage. And running away in the championship is also quite difficult to manage. So that, of course, balances each other out perfectly. But either way, we'll find out soon how these drivers will do. First and foremost, we'll have to focus on those first to cross the line. Tamas Kokeny, of course, being the front of the line. There's only one car remaining in pit lane. That is Wojtek Steg. Everybody else is currently on the track, getting their tires hot and ready to get started. But for now, though, Alex, I'll give you the honor to do the first hot lap of the night.
Yes, let's go with Tamás Kokeni as he makes his way into turn number 3. It is flat out in 5th, climbing up to 6th with that rearing open down Koval Lane into turn number 5. But yes, let's get this first lap on the board. Flying just after the 100-meter board. Bit of a snap and, yeah, took a few digs at it to head it into turn number 5. Very hesitant to get in there, but as we head into the tricky chicane for grip, takes both the curves very nicely, to be honest, and gets on the power nice and smooth. Past the sphere we go. Bit of a correction mid-corner. That's not going to help the exit, but overall, just getting this first lap in is important. There's definitely a lot of time in the first sector and the start of the second to aim for his next few runs. But as we head back up into the middle sector, and turn number 12, he nailed it quite nicely over the curb, and now down this 1.3 kilometer straight down the strip with iconic buildings, structures all around, with that rearing open as we head on the route down to turn number 14 and heavy on the brakes down to 3rd gear, over the curb on the inside of turn number 15, flat out, and from here we head to the line. And what's it going to be for the first time in qualifying? Going to be Tamás Kokeni who heads across the line first. We're going to have a flood of times in a few moments' time, but Kokeni puts in a 29.8, and of course, top of the times at the minute.
Yep, Zalambida slotting in just behind him. 2nd place, 29.8 as well. Then Ryan Modler, 30.1. As yes, Thomas Ilya goes right ahead of him. Boba slots in between the top 2 drivers to slot into the front row with Philippe Sousa in P4. Zach Miles crossing the line right now, 30.5. A little bit of way from the rest of the field at the moment, but it's only his first hot lap here in this tier. So let's see what else he can do from there. Isaac Lead, our championship leader, has just slotted pole position from Tamás Kokeni with a 29.7. So far, so good. Half a tenth clear from the nearest competitor in 2nd place. His rivals are still on their way. Here's Gregory Protsibel, for example, headed turn 12 right there. Tom Roberts is a bit further ahead. Let's swap our attention to him as he's about to head to turn number 17. And then across the line, his teammate right behind. That is, of course, Wojtek Sterk, who's about to start his hot lap. And there goes Tom Roberts, 2 milliseconds faster. You can't write this possibly than Isaac Lead. It's unbelievable. And now I'm curious to see what Gregory can do. Currently sitting in last place without a lap time yet, but he's about to finish the line. No lap invalidations. Quite tricky, actually, to get your lap invalidated here as the walls are so close, except in Sector 2. There's Ryan Mackay going faster than both Tom and Isaac, and there's Gregory, 100th of a second away from Tom Roberts. Insanely close between 3 of the 4 championship contenders. Campbell Adams, P9 for now with a 29.9.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you love to see, isn't it? I mean, that's exactly what we come for in the final 3 rounds. I mean, wow, it's so close. Gregory Pajibel, the highest of them all. And, yeah, but it's Riley who tops everybody else. Unfortunately, not in the championship fight, though, on a 29.7. But that is ridiculously close. This is going to be a close qualifying. And, wow, if it starts like this, I want to get Campbell Adams further up, though, when we're heading to the race. But still a long way to go in qualifying. I'm sure he can get a better lap time in than the 0.9 he's got currently. And, wow, you actually just couldn't write it. There we go.
That's absolutely brilliant. Let's see if Campbell Adams can manage to get himself a bit closer to the other 3. That will be even more brilliant. Wojtek Sterk, the only driver on the hot lap at the moment, and the only driver remaining without a lap time yet. Nobody has invalidated their first attempt as Wojtek Sterk crosses the line to go P7. Just 100th of a second ahead of Boba, and only 5 milliseconds behind, or 7 milliseconds I should say, behind Tamás Kokeni. So a good effort for the Ferrari driver, and on average Ferrari is looking quite strong tonight. 3rd and 7th is quite the effort from the team. As for the rest, let's see if there's some surprises here and there, up, down in the lane. Ryan Modler is only 17th at the moment. Let's hope he can find some extra time later in this session. The McLarens are a bit down there, 13th and 15th only. The Saubers, as I said, Ryan Modler, 2nd to last. Gert Sproget's only P11 at the moment, just behind Campbell Adams, 6 milliseconds separating the both of them. And Gregory Protsibel and Wojtek Sterk, the only 2 cars remaining out on track. But yeah, this is promising to be one fiery and fierce battle for pole position, isn't it? And I think, Alex, at least the top 7 or maybe even the top 8 are in contention for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you never know who is going to swing to at the end of qualifying. Anybody's game, if they just can hook that perfect lap together, they can easily find themselves on pole position. But it is close in the championship, and it's close here in Las Vegas. And I'm sure when we head into Brazil, I mean, it's going to be absolutely fiery, elbows out, and just getting a little bit more competitive. But I mean, this is exactly what I signed up for a bit of referee action, as the drama is just going to intensify heading into these final 3 rounds. But yeah, Riley McKay at the top of the time. He's done a really good job so far on a 29.7. And overall, Haas are looking quite a nice pairing today, as P1 and P5, Steven Vassar and P5, his teammate on provisional pole at the moment. But 10 minutes to go in qualifying. We're going to have a few drivers coming out of the pit lane now, like Campbell Adams. He needs a better time to elevate that P10. And Thomas Etualaya, Valentino Labella, Ryan Modler, and Zach Miles on his return. And then a 30.5, but let's see if we can elevate that and try and challenge for the top 12.
Yeah, Steven Vaso, of course, having suffered from many things in the past 5 races, I think, already. It's never worked out for him so far. He just said in the Discord that he's got new internet, so I hope that finally fixes his woes, because he's incredibly fast. He's always up there in qualifying, and then in the race there's a wheel issue, there's an internet issue, he crashes, he leaves the game or rejoins, or never rejoins at all, and he rarely finishes in the points anymore. So I hope for his sake that this time everything will stand. He's doing brilliant so far. 3 milliseconds behind Isaac Lead, and not that far away from pole position either. As in the chat on YouTube I just see there, Prime Riley is back. Well, perhaps he is, because he's currently occupying provisional pole position. And he's doing quite well out there so far. We're watching Campbell Adams, the first to go out on his second attempt for a hot lap. Let's see if he can close the gap to the top of the field with this second attempt to go a little bit faster.
Yeah, let's see what he can do. Let's see what time he's left in there in the second runs as he heads across the line. And needs to nail this one if he wants to apply the pressure. Heading into the final ones in qualifying. Heading into turn number 1. And applying that throttle once again through the gears. And very tight to the wall to keep it full throttle and pinned around turn number 4. Rearing open down Koval Lane and into turn number 5. And heavy on the brakes and on the curb on the inside nicely, and really close to the wall on the exit, just under a 10th up so far in the first sector alone as we head into the tight chicane, and nails it quite nicely on the curves on both sides. That's exactly what you need here at Vegas, as they are quite relatively high. They can unsettle the car, but Campbell Adams doing it relatively nicely in the first 2 sectors so far. Now as we head down to turn number 12, I feel like it's the only real corner that you can invalidate on. He's left quite a wide berth to the curb there, but he's still 2 tenths up. This is a really strong lap time from Campbell Adams and could really challenge for the top spots if he can nail this final sector. And what battery has he got left as we head down the Las Vegas strip down to turn number 14. Everyone getting out of the way. That's a Ferrari on the inside, but here we go, Campbell Adams as we head into the final real braking zone of the track around turn 14 flat. Bit of a wiggle through 15, but not really going to affect his time as we head foot flat to the floor as we head to the line. What's it going to be for Campbell Adams? Needs an improved lap time. Looks strong in the first 2 sectors and improves to provisional pole. It's a 129.5, and that is how you do it in these middle runs to apply the pressure to the rest of them.
Yeah, Isaac Lead also 2 tenths faster than the middle sector. He's also potentially on the way to steal it back from Campbell Adams. Tamás improves as well massively, all the way up to the front row, 29.6. Track evolution appears to be huge at this point in time, and Isaac Lead actually has lost a whole lot of time, and he shakes his car in frustration across the line, and he's only managed to improve the P4. Crucial time lost then in the final sector, which only has a few notable corners, turns 14 and 15, of course, to mess things up, so he must have made a mistake right there. Swapping our attention then to the next 2 championship contenders, Tom Roberts and Gregory Protzibel. At the moment, Gregory is just ahead of Tom Roberts as he went through turn number 13. Heading up to the chicane as well. I haven't seen the improvement from him so far, But let's see if he can go any faster. His battery light is flashing already. Potentially has already used up all his battery, or perhaps saving a little bit for the final bit, which is right here with a long straight all the way to the line with one corner exactly at the pit entry. Turn 17 goes to the inside. Where is he gonna go? On the grid, he moves out to only P5, just barely ahead of Isaac Lead. Then Tom Roberts has been pushed down to P9 and he goes into the pit lane. Has invalidated his lap, so the pressure appears to turn on right now for the championship contenders. And Tomasz Kokony so far has dealt the best with it as he goes from 10th, which would have been by this point Can you believe it? P15 it would have been if he stayed there. And now he's already up to provisional pole. So once again, the man to beat appears to be Campbell Adams.
Yes, huge time gains in these mid runs as, track evolution and just getting to grips with these conditions. And I tell you what, everyone nailing it. Campbell Adams, that was a perfect lap, especially after the first runs there, into the 0.5s. And Theo Vasso really close behind, and he's elevated himself above his teammate Riley McKay up onto the front row, as Riley did still improve, but not by enough to elevate and try and keep that provisional pole. But anything can happen in these final runs, and we need to see what Tom Roberts can do. He's obviously made a mistake, and a bit of pressure on him now for the final runs to really put himself up there onto the front two rows. But the question is, can he do it? But yes, a lot of questions to be answered in these final runs. Who can grab it under the lights in Las Vegas? As we only have a few minutes to go.
Yeah, Campbell Adams flying once again. He's now the fastest of the lot. He's 300ths of a second away from Stephen Vaso, who appears to be in good spirits with this potentially internet being fixed. Let's hope it stays that way. As I said, Tomasz Kokony finds himself in third at the moment. The only championship contender, therefore, in the top four being Campbell Adams. Gregor Siebel just behind them in P5. Isaac Lead, P6 for now. Tom Roberts still in 10th place. He hasn't improved yet, but I'm sure he's going to find an almighty time in the final run. Less than 4 minutes remain, and then we'll know who of these drivers are going to be in pole position. And it looks like it could be almost anybody's game. Zach Miles still at the bottom at the moment, has found a huge improvement from the 30.5 all the way up to a 29.9, which in the first run would have been almost good enough for pole position. Only a 2 and a bit tenths away from that original lap time. And now he's nearly overtaken Thomas Eto Ilia, who's second to last at the moment. Rahard Sproges has now been overtaken by his teammate Ryan Modler, has improved massively as well, all the way up to 7th place. Philippe Sousa 9th, just ahead of Roberts Boba in P11, the only Red Bull and the only Aston Martin in P14 as we speak. And now, Alex, the long waiting begins. Oh, never mind.
Absolutely. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you just jinxed it, but it's all right. We'll take a bit of track action any day of the week.
Exactly.
We've got a few out. Valentino Labella first out, and I think it's Williams yet to follow, and I think that might be Zach Miles who's coming out the pit lane, and I think Isaac Lee is only just right behind. Yeah, 2 minutes 44 to go, and I thought we'd leave it slightly later than this, but we've got track action already, and what are you predicting then for these final runs?
Difficult. I mean, Campbell has been on form lately. He's been really quick in qualifying and in the races as well. Taking a win home, for example, last week in Japan, beating newcomer Oleg Napadovsky to the line with an absolute blistering pace, and we've seen that more often from him lately. He's definitely found a good rhythm in this game, so I wouldn't be surprised if he remains the man to beat, even in the race. And that would really do his championship a lot of good. He's only 9 points behind Isaac Lead, who finds himself in P6 at the moment, behind 2 of his rivals in the championship, only Roberts behind, of course, since he invalidated his lap. And now we'll see if they're up to the pressure from the final attempt, which is going to mean all or nothing for the championship contenders, because there's only 3 races to go. Don't forget that, with including this one. There's Las Vegas, and I believe from the top of my head, it is Brazil and Mexico still to go. And then the season is already over, and we'll know our season 40 champion.
Yeah, absolutely. It could swing in anybody's direction. And yeah, like you said, Campbell Adams is a man on form at the moment. Heading to these final few races. First out on a lap is his teammate Valentino Labella, heading into the first sector at the moment. Has always made all sorts of an error with the rears on the exit though at turn number 1, and he is currently down in P15. He needs a lot of time. He needs to extract as much time as he can. in this first and well, the final lap of qualifying. Let's see if he has done it as we head down past the sphere. And he's actually down by 500th at the moment, and that's not what he needs. He's currently down in the 0.8, and yeah, he's definitely got a lot of time in it compared to others.
Yep, he needs to find some time, but he's at the moment in P15, and that is about 0.3 of a second away from pole position, believe it or not. That is how small the gaps are at the moment. From first to last, it's just over half a second, in fact. So that is how tight it is on a track like this. Time is starting to run out. Some drivers are still backing up, trying to find a gap to the car ahead. The Red Bull and the McLaren, for example, just had it through turn 15 and 16, and then there's only one Haas remaining. That is Steven Vaso, sitting on the front row at the moment, so he's making it quite exciting for himself. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2, as I believe somebody has spun out. I think that might have been Tom Roberts. He's invalidated and backed out, so that is one of 4 championship contenders out of qualifying, technically, and P10 is going to be the best he's gonna get. So that is going to be interesting for the race to come. But Valentino Labella first across the line. And then we'll see how high the bar potentially could be. Labella across the line, 29.7. Ahead of Tom Roberts as well. He's now down to 11th. Labella up to P7. Then one of these Saubers is up next. That is Ryan Mottler down in the second sector. But perhaps something in the final then? No, just misses out on improving. Stays 8th fastest. That is Isaac Lead. Is in P5 now. Ahead of Gregory Pritzibel. He's just overtaken one of his rivals there. Zalen Bieder doesn't improve, stays 15th fastest. There comes Zach Miles across the line, stays in last place. And there's Campbell Adams improving by a tiny bit. The track evolution not as big anymore, but he goes faster. And there is Tomasz Kokkeny going even quicker than him. Out of nowhere, the man jumps to pole position. Steven Vaso, for a moment I thought he backed out of it, but he's still going strong. He's the last to set a lap time. Roberts backed out. Gregory Pritzibel has managed to get up to P4. Isaac Lead back down to P6. Riley Mackay 5th place. But this is the last man who could potentially steal pole position from Tomasz Kokkeny. Steven Vaso going through the final tricky bit. Nearly goes off the track right there. Almost lost control of the car again coming out of turn 16. Might that then have been crucial as Tudor Presican goes to P5. Boba is in all the way down in P14 across the line. He goes, he doesn't improve, stays 3rd, and that means Tomasz Kokkeny takes pole position, just barely ahead of Campbell Adams.
It's close. It is so close. But yes, what a lap from Kokkeny, who takes pole position by 16 milliseconds to Campbell Adams, the man in form, 3rd in the championship, and needs to swing in his favour for these final few rounds if he wants to try and challenge the guys ahead of him. Steven Vaso is in P3, when it's Gregory Pritzibel ahead of rival Isaac Leet in P4. Tudor Presican in P5, and it's Wojtek Steg alongside him on the 3rd row. Riley Mackay takes P7. Isaac Leet, championship leader, in P8, and it's Felipe Sousa when Valentino Labella rounding out the top 10, and Tom Roberts only down in 12th, and that's not what he needs. He's 10 points off the championship, and in P4 in the championship, and yeah, just one too many mistakes in qualifying, and there we go. That could have really ruined his chances, maybe in a race win today. So yeah, I mean, all eyes to the grid. We've got 25 laps, and anything can happen. So let's see what does.
Yeah, we just got an explanation on the yellow flag at the final run of Tom Roberts. It's he took flight. He just said in the Discord about the RNG curb and the chicane, as Ryan Muller described it. So that is unfortunate, meaning he will only start indeed from 12th, and that's going to be a huge challenge. He might want to opt for an alternate strategy potentially. It's a risk these days to go from the hards to the mediums instead of starting on the mediums. But it might just work out in the end, perhaps. So we'll see. As Zach Miles actually asked for a reverse grid, that would be ideal for him. People starting in first if they do that. Of course, that won't happen. He'll be starting from last. Simple as that. Let's see what he can do from there. Perhaps he finds his rhythm once the race gets underway. There's 25 laps to go of about 1.5 minutes each. So there should be plenty of time to practice a bit more for him and perhaps find his way a bit closer to the top 10. So then, indeed, Gregory placed in P4, the second highest rated of the top 4 championship contenders. Isaac Lead all the way in P8, and then Tom Roberts in P12. So that is going to be an interesting thing to watch out for. And they've got their teammate somewhere in there as well. So let's see if they are up for the job of helping out their championship contending teammates in this race. Let's see in the chat, people talking about Campbell Adams, Gregory Pritzibel as well, and of course cheering on Zach Miles returning to F3 here. And Riley Mackay unfortunately did not take pole position. His teammate Steven Vaso finished ahead, once again hoping that he actually gets a good race this time without any issues. Tire strategy, I'd say, Alex, medium to hard. If you can hear me.
Yes, I agree. I did mute my mic and I forgot to unmute it, so I was just speaking to myself, but that's all right. But yeah, medium hard.
Oh, yeah, there we go. The lights are coming on already. That was a short discussion, the shortest ever about tire strategies. But there we go. The race Las Vegas round 10 underway officially. And let's see who takes lead into turn 1. Tomasz Kokony's got the outside. Campbell Adams has got the inside. Oh, Vaso nearly bumped into him. To the press again, getting past Gregory Przebyl in turn 1. But Przebyl might want to fight back round the outside. He starts on the hards, actually. That is very interesting to see. He does go for the alternate strategy. Then Wojtek Steg making his moves as well. He's now stuck behind Gregory Przebyl. And to the press again is still going to go side by side with the Mercedes in the next turn, turn number 5, and he does get ahead of him, of course. Gregory will have the inferior grip compared to the other cars. Lots of cars there in the background going side by side. Riley Mackay bumping into Wojtek Steg as he tries to get ahead of Isaac Lee, but that didn't work out for him at all, as Isaac Lee is going to try go around the outside, which is difficult, of course, to manage on a track like this. For now, though, they're still going side by side. In fact, almost going 3 wide, because there's the Sauber of Ryan Mottler. Behind them, Tomasetto Ilya and Philippe Sousa fighting for position as well. It's difficult where to look, but this is the place we want to look. And oh, there it goes wrong. That is Philippe Sousa spinning around all the way down in last place. Several drivers moving up, and they're still side by side, but he got involved in this incident. And I wonder, let's quickly swap to him if he's got any visual damage to the car. I think it's looking quite nice. Both end plates are still on, but perhaps some not visible damage to the front wing there. Very minor, which is of course not a big issue on a track like this, but it could still hamper his race. But other than that, they all came through the first lap relatively unscathed, and Tomasz is still leading the way.
Wow, a lap full of chaos. Ryan Mottler making a move on Riley Mackay. There's moves absolutely everywhere in this opening phase of the race. Tomasz Kokony has just been nicely out front and keeping Campbell Adams at bay, but the DRS is getting wide open as we head down Cove Lane, down to turn number 5. And it's going to close that one up a little bit more. Anyone going to opt to try and make a move or put a bit of pressure on? I think there's a few in the background. Tom Roberts, he's looking to make a move on Valentino Libella. He really needs to try and boost that position at the moment. Currently down in P12 as we head into chicane, just too far back to make a move. He's going for a dive, though, down the inside. He's going to turn into the outside line. And now here comes Riyad Sprogis to pick up the scraps around the outside as we head into the braking zone at turn number 9, and it's still close between the pair. Tom Roberts does come out ahead though, and he needs to defend, but now needs to try and turn that defensive move into the offensive and put more pressure on Valentino Libella. But his car's absolutely everywhere in the background. The kick Sauber almost touching Tom Roberts. If he did, Daniel Kaya and Zach Miles going side by side. His car's absolutely everywhere. I don't know where to look as we head onto the back straight once again.
Yeah, this is the place we're looking for now. A bit further ahead, though, the gaps are getting quite close as well. Gregory's doing well in P5 on his hard tires. You can see now that 5 other drivers alongside Gregory have decided to go for the same strategy. Tom Roberts has decided to start on the medium tires. That is why he wants to get past Valentino as quick as possible. Unfortunately for Tom, Valentino just happens to be Campbell Adams' teammate, which is a championship contender as well, of course. And I'm sure that is the reason why Valentino made life that difficult for Tom. Otherwise, I think he might have just let him go because his tires would have turned on later in the race anyway. Behind Tom, Rehard Sprogis and Daniel Kaya on the hards as well. Same goes for Boba and Zalen Beater. And of course, Gregory Przebyl too. So the gaps are starting to spread out a little bit right now. Daniel is very close, the closest at the moment to Rehard Sprogis. And in the background, Zalen Beater for a move as well for 16th place. No points whatsoever, but you know, you never know what can happen if you make the move stick right here. Or can he? Because they're still going to go side by side for that position. Boba wants to stay ahead, and he does so for now. And back in P16, or is he? Because Zalen Beater decides to come back at him anyway in turn 9, and so far so safe. Doing quite well. Philippe Sousa, of course, desperately tries to keep up. Crucially, though, we'll have to see here what the gap between Tomasetto and Ryan is going to do, because Tom Roberts is now firmly stuck in the second group. He's starting to get further away from the points. He wants to get past Valentino Libella again. I'm watching him right now. He's got to hurry up if he wants to get some points.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Tom Roberts is in a lot of trouble at the moment. He's dropped a few positions down in P12, as I think Riley McKay just making a move on Tomasetto Alaya, and these two need to work together, try and close into that front pack. It's going to be really difficult. Tom Roberts is making a move down the inside at turn number 14 and does get up into P11. But yeah, really needs to get a move on, make the most of these medium tyres as much as he possibly can in this first stint. But that gap, 2.6 seconds to the front pack, that's almost impossible to close at a track like Las Vegas, where the back straight is so long and that DRS is so important if you want to stick with him. Riyad Sprogis just making a move on Valentino Labella there up into P12. But Tom Roberts in a lot of trouble. Fourth in the standings. He needs to be the one who's really out front compared to the rest of them if he wants to challenge into the final 3 rounds. But currently in P11 and is actually trying to go for a move as putting pressure on Tomasetto Alaya, who's also trying to be on the offensive but stays behind just for nice looking to the inside into the chicane. He nudges that nose down the inside. That papaya McLaren, can he try and make a move? He's tried this once before. Can he hold it round the outside to turn it into the inside at turn number 9? He absolutely can. It's still close between the pair, but he does just nudge ahead, and the Ferrari up into P10, and now needs to set his sights on Riley McKay up in front, use that DRS and try and burst through.
Yep, Tomasetto Alaya having some small front wing damage. The front end left plate. Left end plate is missing actually, and it might have been because of the contact with Felipe Sousa on lap number 1. And that means he's in a little bit of trouble right there. That is why Tom Roberts wanted to get past as soon as he possibly could, and now he's in the slipstream of Riley McKay, who's without any DRS. He's now 3.4 seconds clear. Tomasetto Alaya still putting on pressure to the Ferrari. In the background, you also saw Daniel Kyer looking for a move on Valentino Labella. A question in the chat, the graphics look different. PlayStation? No, this is PC. And I'm using path tracing, which looks very crisp and very fancy, actually, and I like it. And it works with my OBS and everything else working in the background. So far, so good, and my PC is doing a fine job indeed. Anyway, lap 5 at the moment. We are about a fifth of the way in, and I think the first round of pit stops, if they want to do an undercut, they are not far away. And I think, Alex, I'm not sure how you're thinking about this, but Tom Roberts' race, the only way it can be saved is either a safety car or a big undercut.
Yeah, and they're too big. I mean, the undercut, obviously, in the long run, wouldn't work out when it gets to the final part of the stint, and the losing just under a second a lap, just on the back straight, and especially on the last lap where Riley McKay didn't have anyone to boost ahead with that DRS. He lost a good 6 tenths on the back straight, and it's going to become a struggle if they can't try and work together and reduce the deficit per lap. But Tom Roberts is in a lot of trouble here. He needs to hope for a safety car because that will save his race. Lap 5 of 25. And he is in quite a bit of trouble stuck behind. He's surely going to try and get through Riley McKay here. And in that slipstream, when he gets the rear wing open, going to fly through. And the McLaren of Tomasetto Alaya also getting really close to the back of Tom Roberts. He's going to go try for a move. He looks to the inside, but just flies through on Riley McKay. And up into P9 and P10 is the Ferrari and the McLaren. But the gap still 3.6 seconds to Ryan Modler in that top pack. And
he's updrafting him. Sorry for interrupting you with that.
It's a risk. It's a risk. Boys, not one that they have to take.
That I only see that. I mean, I never really spectate any other racing games, but you usually see this in like GT3 racing games, you know, like Assetto Corsa. But here is Tomasetto Alaya. He's like, oh, my front wing is damaged anyway. I'll just try some bump drafting against Tom Roberts and bump him forwards, literally. But the gap is still increasing, unfortunately. I think the only way, indeed, is to try the undercut. But even that, by the end of the race, would be a huge risk of the tires being completely dead. But I'm not sure what Roberts is thinking about Alaya's strategy. But I find it quite fascinating, to be honest.
Yeah, oh, he's had a big slide, actually, as Tomasetto on the exit of turn number 9 there. But yeah, he's already got that front wing damage. It was just the place he did it was a bit questionable, and that could have brought in a lot of risk at the final corner. But that's all right, worth a go. As we head onto the back straight once again, as Tomasetto is quite far behind, and that's not going to help Tom Roberts if he can't have someone to fly through with that DRS, is because just watch the gap open up. 3.6 it was at the start of the straight. It's going to be way over 4. I mean, that is unbelievable. for Tom Roberts. There's nothing he can do. Ryder McKay is making a move on Thomas Setterly. So is Riyad Sprogis down the inside as they try to get through on the damaged McLaren. And as we make our way down to the start-finish straight once again, they have made a move, and Thomas Setterly down to P12.
Yeah, it looks like he's now starting to suffer from tire wear and wing damage at the same time, but he decides to go on the offensive anyway. Huge dive in turn one. Nearly takes out Riley Mackay and himself and Rehard Sproges to come by it. That was quite risky there. For now, he made it stick, and Rehard's unhappily tries to, and there they go! No surprises there. A big come together. Somehow, Rehard's car is still in one piece. Thomas Ilya has now fallen all the way to the back, and more cars decide to go 3 wide in turn 5. That is Zach Miles and Daniel Kyer fighting for P12. Suddenly, one little thing happens and a huge chain reaction is being set off right there, because Zach Miles is now all over the back of Daniel Kyer, just gotten past him. He wants to repass him for P12. Zach is doing quite well in race pace. He's still stuck in that second group, of course, like many others right here. The front group, actually, not many moves that happened so far. They've been quite stable. The top 8 is doing a strong job of keeping it on the roads altogether as they pull away more and more. But the gap now, it was 4 seconds, and somehow, with Tom Roberts in the lead, it has shrunk a little bit. Is there a glimmer of hope then for the Ferrari, I wonder?
Let's wait and see the end of this back straight. He's probably trying to use a bit of battery as well, but wow, absolute chaos in that first sector. Thomas Eto's race has just been unravelled, as I think it was when he got damaged in the first place, and I mean, there we go. That incident has came on the exit of turn number 4. But yeah, you did say the top 8, they've been very calm. They've been just turning themselves along, and I feel like they're all just getting to the point where it's going to rely on the pit strategies and what other drivers do around and picking up scraps of any sort of mistakes. So if someone does try the move, I think there will be that chain reaction of others going for it, especially if you're in the likes of Ryan Modler's position at the back of the pack. But yeah, Tom Roberts, the gap's now 4.1. He's just losing a few tenths a lap. Even I think when he does use battery down the back straight, it's still tricky to keep it even the same or keep it a stable gap of 4 seconds or around 4 seconds. But he looks pretty good through the start of the second sector, especially for this mid part here. Gains a few tenths, and that's just what's keeping him alive. And if he does want to go for the undercut, might just close him in, but I think he's going to have to do it.
He's got no choice, basically. And Thomas Ilya also had no choice but to pit, go for a fresh front wing and fresh hard tires. But even if that happens and he goes for the undercut, he will be further away, of course, as he added 7 seconds, perhaps, to his pit stop time. And now I see Felipe Sousa going slow. Let's have a little look at what's going on there. Just got a really bad exit, I think, out of turn 12. And now he's completely lost connection to the second group. And he's all on his own. And they will all start to drive away from him. Front group, though, you can see Gregory Pritzibel starting to get his tires ready for overtaking maneuvers. And some others are getting ready for a pit stop, including the first Ferrari, Wojtek Steg. Is the first to make a pit stop without replacing a front wing. Ryan Modler goes in alongside him. Tom Roberts therefore forced to continue on another lap. Even if he wanted to go for the undercut, he would have been stuck behind his teammate for a little bit. Potentially adding a 1 or 2 extra seconds that he really doesn't need anyway. So, now that means 6 cars remain in the first group. Tom Roberts now up to P7 for the time being. A whole slew of cars in tow. And 3 drivers with Felipe Sousa now included, have pitted for fresh tyres. And I wonder how powerful the undercut is going to be around here.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think I don't see it being too strong, especially if you're losing time in the pit lane and you're going to be out of the DRS when you're coming out of the pit lane. I think that's the risk. But I feel like Ryan Modler and Wojtek Steg might be able to work together to just try and reduce the risk of the DRS, putting the undercut strategy there. But now I wonder what Gregory Pritzibel and what pace he has in the remainder of this first stint for himself, and if he can really make this work, the invert strategy. Was it worth the risk? It could win him the race, or it could just lose him a few more points to the likes of Isaac Leet and Campbell Adams. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do, as I think just seen Riley McKay make a move on Tom Roberts, and I think Daniel Kyer has just made a move on Riyad Sprogis.
Yeah, of course, Roberts didn't fight Riley. They need to work together as Riley has decided to pit now. Roberts still carries on for another lap. He wants to have fresher tires by the end, apparently. And he doesn't want the undercut. That is interesting. Behind him, there's a lot of action going on there. Zach Miles wanted to go for a move somewhere and wasn't sure where. And Berhardt wasn't sure either, so they moved left and right. And then Zach tried to go around the inside and then the outside in turn 2, of course. Didn't quite work out for him yet, but looks like he's starting to get more and more comfortable with his race pace. In fact, despite his 9-lap-old medium tires, he's still well on it to get back past Berhardt Sprogus into turn 5. He was close, but not close enough. Not enough speed and not enough grip anymore, perhaps, as they now headed to the second sector once again. And the front field, you can suddenly see a gap starting to form between the top 2 and the other drivers. Tudor Pressigan is not able to keep up. Gregory will be most displeased with that one, because if he loses connection to Campbell Adams right now, Adams might just run away with another victory. Of course, he's now gained the lead from Tomasz Kokeny, as we were watching the middle group for quite a while. They've just simply swapped around positions. I think they're not fighting for the win just yet, because working together now is more important. Campbell knows it. One of his rivals in the second group. Gregory is on an alternative strategy. Isaac Lead is hanging on the tail end of that same group he's in, or he was in, because now the top 2 are starting to pull away, and Tudor needs to find an answer.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Gregory might just be in a bit of trouble as it comes to the remainder of Tudor Pressigan's stint, as, yeah, that gap extending slightly as well. Needs to push on in the first sectors. I think, is he coming to the pit lane? Yes, he is, and that now releases Gregory Pujibel into the race leaders. Campbell Adams, Tomasz Kokeny, and Tudor Pressigan all into the pit lane. Isaac Leet, the remainder of that front pack still on the mediums, and Tom Roberts still out there in the leader of the second pack as well. So he hasn't went for the undercut. He is going long in this first stint, which is the interesting choice for Tom Roberts. I mean, now he doesn't run the risk of obviously tanking the final stint. But yeah, now feel like he's got a lot of work to do now if he wants to try and make anything work and gain a bit of track position as well. But the people who are going to undercut him are going to do it by quite a margin. So yeah, risky from Tom Roberts to go for the overcut and stay out there on the mediums, but let's see what he can make of it.
It's almost like he's hoping for a safety car somewhere. His teammate has pitted by this point, 2-lap-old tires already, and they are closing in rapidly on this group. It's almost like he's just begging for a safety car to happen now. That would make his pit stop almost perfect, and he will be right behind his main rivals, Isaac Leet and Gregory Purcibel, with only Daniel Kyer in between them, as Campbell, of course, has just pitted for fresh hards. So that is going to be quite fascinating to watch. Ryan Modler and Tomasz Kokeny and Wojtek Steg right now fighting for a position. Tomasz started on pole position, of course, but he's starting to become in a bit of a trouble right there. Campbell Adams is now driving away with Stephen Vaso instead of Tomasz Kokeny. That is interesting indeed. Tudor Pressigan gets past there, or is he? As they go side by side in the chicane. That doesn't work usually, but they somehow keep it alive to the both of them, or nearly. They crush each other out, actually, with Pressigan just barely staying ahead on the inside in the last corner. There he goes. Zach Miles, Boba fighting for position as well, as Boba goes up into P6 for the time being. At the moment, Gregory and Isaac carry on for a little while longer. Isaac is still happy to follow Gregory, as of course Gregory has now got the faster tires. Isaac is only too happy to stay within DRS range, and then perhaps as soon as the DRS get lost, he gets into the pit lane, or as soon as Gregory goes in as well, and then they'll be on equally old tires, only the opposite compound. This is interesting. They are choosing so many different strategies at the moment, and I'm most curious about Tom's reasons to stay out this long.
Yeah, it's very interesting saying, I mean, Daniel Kyer is so far back from the front pack now, with that gap just under 7 seconds, but at the moment, Campbell Adams, he's 13.2 behind our race lead. He's about to join this second pack, and yeah, now it's going to be how quick can Campbell Adams get through, as that might affect the Gregory Pujibel strategy of the hards to the mediums. As there goes Riyad Sprogis on Tom Roberts up into P4, as his tyres definitely now in favour over the medium compound tyres. Zach Miles and Valentino Labella swapping up positions there. Zach Miles gets up into P7. As Valentino still really close behind. Isaac Lee is into the pit lane, so is Zach Miles, and I think Tom Roberts is too.
Yep, there he goes finally. In he comes with the 12-lap-old mediums. And now the time has come for him to switch to the hards. Gregory, Daniel, Richard, Boba, Valentino and Zelen, of course, carry on for a tiny while longer. But it won't be more than 2 laps, I think, until they swap to the mediums to have any chance at some good results from their starting position comparatively. Roberts now down in 16th place. Zach Miles right behind him. And Roberts is being joined by Philippe Sousa, who's been fighting at the back all race. And Roberts, crucially, is alone. Apart from Philippe, who's got quite older tires now, 4 laps difference, which should mean Roberts wants to get past ASAP, perhaps take the Mercedes in tow, or maybe he doesn't because Sousa just happens to be the teammate of Gregory Protsibel, another championship rival of Tom Roberts. So far, though, Roberts is not having a great day. Campbell, though, absolutely flying as per usual. In the last few weeks, he's been absolutely on top of it. He's now almost, or has he perhaps already joined this group? Yes, he has. He's well within a second and ready to make the moves for the lead once again.
This has been a huge last few races for Campbell Adams, who's looking to ignite his championship charge as Zalambida goes for a move up into P5 and just gets ahead of Valentino Labella with the use of the DRS. As, still got the front 6 out there on the 12-lap-old harder compound tyres, and I think they will definitely be coming in now. As there goes Zalambida and Valentino Labella, first guys into the pit lane, going for the medium compound tyres for the remainder of the race. And I think this is why it might be able to work, because there's not that many laps between the strategies. And and they can definitely go to the end from here, of course. Only 10 laps to go. So this could work for especially Gregory Protsibel out front, and I'm sure he'll be in on the next lap.
Yep, Roberts now back up into 13th place. Gregory Protsibel remains now the sole leader of it. Daniel Kaya 7.4 seconds behind. The gap has been increasing slowly lap after lap. Sprogas and Boba still following in Kaya's gearbox pretty much, so to say. Campbell Adams is joining them very soon indeed, and he'll soon be regaining the race lead after they've all pitted. Stephen Vaza stays in tow, though. It looks like he's finally gotten rid of his cars, and maybe I've just jinxed it, so let's hope that hasn't happened. But so far, though, he's doing a good job. He's in a net 2nd place as we speak, as the rest ahead of him still has to pit, apart from Campbell Adams, and he's still within DRS range, crucially, to still keep the fight to the Australian. There's Sprogas and Geyer swapping positions, trying to keep as much speed as possible to their run. In the background, you can see there the Alpine approaching. And I think now the time perhaps has come for Gregory to pit. No, it isn't. He carries on for a little bit longer. Perhaps Rehards, Daniel and Boba might want to think and consider going for the stop now, but they carry on as well for another lap on the old hard tires. Now we're 15 laps in. And only 4 drivers remain on their original tires. To the Pressica now with the fastest lap of the race as he tries to get back to the front of the field.
Yeah, it's got to be this lap then for Gregory, because that gap will just be too big by the time it gets to his final stint. Zach Miles sets the fastest lap of the race, and 132.8 is just behind Zalambida down in P15 and P16, and I think they'll swap positions heading on to the next lap. But yeah, Gregory, I think it's now or never to come into the pit lane. 10 lap stint on the mediums is, I'd say, perfect length really, compared to the hards as well. But at the moment, Campbell Adams is doing a good job at the front of that pack. He's going for a move now on Boba around the long twisting right-hander and heading up to that final sector in the back straight down the Las Vegas Strip. And he's fighting and cutting his way through the old hard runners now. As up into P4 already, as he's looking to get past Daniel Kaya and Riyad Sprogis, unless he's just going to stay behind, use the DRS and wait for them to come into the pit lane, which I think they will on the next lap, as there is Daniel Kaya making a move on Riyad Sprogis, and there I think is Tudor Pressican making a move on Ryan Modler.
Indeed, same goes for Faso, now getting past Boba. Crucially, he's still within DRS range of the race leader. Campbell Adams is now, well, he was about to be stuck behind Sprogis, but he comes in. And same goes for Daniel Kaya for his one and only stop. Protsibel, though, carries on for another lap. I won't say he's going to the softs just yet, and I don't think it's a wise choice, but he wants to have by far the freshest tires of the field, but that means he's got a lot of catching up to do. Let's see how the championship contenders are, where they are at the moment. Gregory still leads on his original tires. Campbell Adams in second. Isaac Lead is in P8 at the moment. He pitted a bit later than other guys. That means he now has to close the gap all by himself. He's alone and the rest is just driving away from him. The gap is hovering around 3 seconds still. Through the corners he makes up the time. He loses on the straights, so that might be a problem for him. Tom Roberts is then 7 seconds behind Isaac Lead, sitting in P9, having some cars for company, but absolutely no chance at the moment of catching up as the gap has only gotten bigger. Even with Isaac Lead on his own, it's a difficult job for him to do so. So, if Gregory doesn't come in now, I'm really starting to think he's going to go for the softs.
I mean, he's risking it all, and he's got to try and do something different now, as the gap's already 6.6 seconds to Campbell Adams, who's had quite a dominant race so far, out front of the main pack and provisionally in that race lead. Yeah, Gregory Pageau. Let's see if he comes into the pit lane now, as he looks into. Yeah, he is into the pit lane now. 6.6 is the gap to Campbell Adams, and he's going to be way behind the guys who already came into the pit lane. And yeah, Gregory Pageau, has this been a bit of a disaster class on the strategy?
And he's going to go to the mediums on the freshest of the fields, but let's see where he comes out. Already the top 6 have passed him. He's now down in 7th. Isaac Lead is passing him as well, and he's now going to have to hope that Tom Roberts and his group aren't going to pass him. They're approaching rapidly to turn 1. It's going to be close, but I think Pageau is just going to stay ahead. Is he going to take Tom Roberts in tow for DRS? No, he isn't. The gap is remaining at 1.5 seconds at its smallest, but now he's got an almighty job to do. He's 5.3 seconds clear from Isaac. He's 11 seconds away from the race lead. It's going to be a really tall order to catch the top 6 at least.
Yeah, we're also seeing Isaac Leet struggling to close in to the top 6. Obviously, Gregory is on fresher, medium compounder tyres, so that's probably going to help him, but he's got to navigate through Isaac Leet, then gain another 2.2 seconds. It's a tricky ask here for Gregory Pageau, who's P2 in the standings and needs to make as much ground as he possibly can. Campbell Adams is on for an absolutely fantastic final 3 rounds here. He could really ignite this championship for himself. Currently P3 in the standings, and I think 7 points behind Isaac Leet, I believe. And yeah, this could be a real standout showing for Campbell Adams to turn everything on its head and maybe even be the championship leader soon coming off. So yeah, I mean, heading to Brazil, he's had such a strong last few rounds as Campbell Adams. And yeah, I mean, it's all about these final few laps of the race. What can Gregory Pageau do? What can Isaac Leet do? And Tom Roberts as well. I mean, damage limitation for him down in P9. There's not much more he can do, as he's quite a way behind Gregory Pageau, who's on faster medium compound, and then also quite a way behind Isaac Leet, who's a few more seconds up the road. So yeah, Tom Roberts is in quite a tough position, and he has been since the start of the first stint, really.
Sprague is getting past Sousa, and yeah, it's a tough job. I've seen him, and he's actually gained more than he lost on the straights through the corner. So at the moment, Gregory is definitely gaining on the leaders. He's now 9.7 seconds behind. It was 11 seconds at the start of the previous lap, around the same position where he is now, as he just posted the fastest first sector. He's going to gain a lot, you'll see, through here. It was 9.7, 9.4, and then 9.3. It goes down rapidly through these corners. Of course, the pain is at the back straight, where he loses a whole lot of time, but it isn't as much, as I said, as he gains through the corners. So there's a tiny glimmer of hope for him, but he needs to get past Isaac Leet as well. And I think Isaac will be all too happy to sit behind his rival in the tow, as now we see Daniel Kyer leaving the sessions and issues on his side potentially. Let's hope he can get back in very soon. And I just see that in the background for a moment. I thought Tom Roberts was in trouble, but he isn't. He's now shaking himself loose from the rest of that group. Now he's a solo driver as well. So 3 out of the 4 championship contenders are alone in 7th, 8th and 9th. Campbell Adams still feels the pressure though at the front from Stephen Vaso and Tudor Pressigan as well. He's definitely not gotten rid from them just yet. In the background you see Zalon Beater getting past Randy Mackay for the point-paying position of P10. Right behind them, Zach Miles waiting eagerly for his move as well. It looks like, as I said, he's finding his rhythm more and more. He's even set the fastest lap for a short while. So he's definitely starting to get back into his normal rhythm. But for now, though, the top 3 fighting for the win. Gregory desperately trying to catch up, potentially taking Isaac in tow. But 8.5 seconds, we're on lap 19. Can it be done?
he needs to make the advantage, well, needs to make the most of the off the tyre offset at the moment. And I think as soon as it gets to, I'd say, lap 22, lap 23, obviously it'll start to slow down that time gain when the mediums do screw up that a little bit more, as Riley McKay and Zach Miles fighting out there in that second sector as Riley McKay looks to the inside line, but Zach Miles has flew through up into P12. I think Daniel Kaya just went for a little stint on the softs at the end of this race, as his race has just been purely unravelled in this second stint, so probably going to get the fastest lap. And yeah, see what those softs can do from a bit of fun, and just go pedal to the finish line. But yeah, there we go. Campbell Adams out front, Steven Vasso and Tudor Prescan, no changes up there. Tamas Kokeni, though, is making a move on Ryan Modler, and that's the fight for P4. But they don't want to lose time now to the top threes. They are temporarily out of a second, and Tamas wants to close that in, and he has done, and he's just got to the 8/10 mark. But yeah, really important saying that DRS. That could have been a huge swing in the top three and the top five battle as a whole. But at the moment, Wojtek Steg has dropped back. Isaac Lee will be able to put the pressure on him, and so will Gregory Pajibel by the end of the race. So I think really, at the moment, Gregory might be on course for P6, but it's going to be tricky to go further than that.
It's going to be a tough one. Gregor Pajibel now 7.2 seconds behind the race leader, 7.1 through the corner. He still gains a lot, and his tyres will last for quite a while still. I think in terms of tyre life, he's made the right choice, but it might have been too little too late. Now it's under 7 seconds. He's almost with Isaac Lead, and then sooner or later they will find Wojtek Steg a little bit alone as well. He tries to hang on to DRS range. He's 1.2 seconds, 1.4, a bit more there behind Ryan Modler through the corners. It appears Wojtek is starting to struggle quite hard. Ryan Modler, of course, not able to keep up as much anymore. The both of them have got the oldest tyres in the top 6. And that means that Isaac and Gregory might benefit from that one. 6.4 seconds now to Gregory Pajibel from the race leader. And it's still quite the gap, but at least he's now got some company because he's managed to connect to Isaac Lead. He will get DRS, allowing himself to gain a bit extra. And in the chat, it's being said that Greg will need a 1.4 second gain per lap to have a chance of winning. And that is a tough one on a track like this.
Yeah, 1.4 seconds a lap of pure gain. Without any moves included in that, it's going to be a very, very tricky ask. So yeah, I do think it's going to be a tricky one as soon as I get past Wojtek Steg. He is in the slipstream. He's got the DRS now to Isaac Lee and needs to navigate his way through and make the most of the DRS as well. Tudor Prescan and Steven Vasso out there battling at turn number 1. It's getting very close between the pair as there's Tudor Prescan down the inside and trying to hold that P2. But it's hotting up in the top 3. Campbell Adams just needs to try and avoid that as Tudor Prescan gets his rearing open as we make our way down the straight once again. But that got a bit hot a minute, and that could have been another 2 drivers spinning out at turn number 1, but they've kept it in shape as there goes Gregory Pajibel on Isaac Lee making a move in the Mercedes, as that might just be important as now he's already in the DRS of Wojtek Steg, and Isaac Lee, I'm sure, is going to follow him through.
This is what Gregory needs. The fighting at the front of the field is exactly what he wants. He's now 4.8 seconds behind, and he's got Wojtek Steg inside, who he will get DRS from as well. And then there's a gap of about 2 seconds from Wojtek to Ryan, who still barely hangs on to the top 5 at the moment. Might be easy prey for the Mercedes as well. And as soon as he connects to the front group, he will be back in the fight for the win. But there's still one car to go around with, and it is Wojtek, which is also the teammate, of course, of Tom Roberts. Tom Roberts still sitting in P9 and no way past, and there's a yellow flag. There's Valentino Labella into the wall there, perhaps some contact being made somewhere, and we're gonna swap our attention quickly back to Gregory because he's gonna get past already into turn number 14. Past Wojtek Steg, he goes into P6. The gap to the leader, 4.5 seconds, and dropping still through the final corner once again for the 21st time as they head to lap 22. But for some reason, Wojtek has decided to fight it, and the same goes for Isaac Lee, and they sandwich the Mercedes pretty much right there. Wow. And Gregory manages to find his way through. That nearly turned out into a very ugly collision, and this type of fighting is something Gregory doesn't want. It's like Isaac doesn't want the toe to go to the front group. This was his chance, and he has decided to fight it. He doesn't care apparently about the top 5. He does care about his main rival. Of course, it's Gregory Pajibel. That is the man in second place in the standings, 2 points behind the Williams. So no wonder Isaac wants to fight back right there.
Wow. And that is exactly what Gregory doesn't want. as he head down to turn number 1. The gap's 2.4 to the top 5. He's already gained 6.5 tenths in the first sector and the start of the second. But now it gets a little bit trickier when we get to that strip as the DRS gets open for the top 5. But let's see if Isaac Leet is going to fly through and utilize that DRS. And I mean, 3 laps to go. I think Gregory might just catch the rear of that train, but it's just getting through and trying to make moves. I feel like it'll come down to the final lap, and that'll be his chance to try and make a move on the likes of Ryan Modler and Tamas Kokeni. But yeah, still, anything can happen. If the top 5 do battle like they did a few laps ago, it might just make Gregory Pujibel's strategy look a bit more attractive, and it might just pay out for him.
Yeah, he has managed to stay ahead for now, and he's no longer under threat for a little while. The gap now 4.1 seconds. He's still gaining. Those hard tires are pretty much at the end of their lifespan, or at least in their end of the lifespan for good performance. And he's still gaining through the corners. 3.8 it now is. There are still 2 seconds to go to Ryan Modley. He's not catching up fast enough. We're now lap 23. He needs to catch up by the end of this lap, preferably, to have any chance at fighting to the front of the field, because he still needs to pass 5 cars to get into the lead, and Thomas Etter-Ilya retires in the pit lane. His race was simply absolutely nowhere. Daniel Kyer hasn't returned yet. His AI is still going around. Frankly, it's swapped back to the hard tires. It swapped to the softs and then back to the hard for some strange reason that we cannot explain. The mind of the AI works strange sometimes. And Boba, only at the end of the race, is the first driver to get a 3-second time penalty, which is a rare enough thing of Las Vegas. And only in lap 23 we see the first driver getting it. But now we're getting to the end of this spectacular race so far. Gregory Pujibel is just under a second to Ryan Modler. He will get DRS. He has gotten what he needs, and now he's got 2 laps to fight himself all the way to the front of the field. But I wonder if it's going to happen. And there goes Tudor Presican. He fights with Campbell Adams for the lead of the race, and he goes ahead. Campbell doesn't fight him. He knows that will cost them crucial time. Gregory Pujibel, I believe, his rear wing just barely opened, and he is within a second now. And this is gonna get really interesting.
Magnificent first and starts the middle sector there for Gregory Pujibel. I was just riding on board and gain time and nail every single corner, utilize that grip and get inside the DRS. That was important, and that could be really, I mean, you never know, that could be what's wins in the championship if he does make up a few more moves, and yeah, it could set him up in a better position for the final 2 rounds of the season. But the battle at the front, Tudor Presican versus Campbell Adams on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Who's going to come out on top on the final lap? Who's going to have the DRS to try and fight it? But still, anything can happen. Gregory Pujibel is going to catch the rear of Ryan Modler, especially in this first and middle sector. And let's see if he can try and make a move and close in as much as he possibly can before he gets onto the back straight. The gap just under 6 tenths at the minute. And I think when he do gets that back straight, I don't think it's going to be close enough to make that move. As yeah, it needs to be a little bit closer than that, especially with the guys ahead in that DRS. And he has got a good exit though. Onto the Las Vegas strip, and the gap's just falling underneath 3 tenths of a second. He needs to use a bit of battery. He needs to try and make a move. Is there more moves at the front though, as Campbell Adams I think just stays behind, and that's where he needs to be for the final lap, so he gets the DRS on the final lap. Gregory Pujibel, can he try and make a move down the inside? It's close, but just not close enough to nudge that Mercedes through, and heading on to the final lap, he's gonna be in P6, but it's the third to last round. Tudor Presican's in the lead. Campbell Adams is in P2. It's going to be a massive fight to the line as Gregory Pujibel is making a move, but takes us away for the final lap.
Yeah, there we go. Then he started in 4th place, and he wants to get back to his starting position at least to minimize the damage. He's done with his strategy. He's now up in 5th place. Ryan Modler made it difficult. I watched him on board. The slipstream was pretty much non-existent. His engine was revving to the max, and we've got another yellow flag. That's Alan Beater in the background, having come together, I think, with Tom Roberts, who's now out of the points. One of the championship contenders no longer scoring points tonight. Isaac Leet is desperately trying to keep up with the top 6. He's still within DRS range. Gregory Pujibel has to do everything perfectly to try and act even close to the podium anymore. Campbell Adams is in a perfect position to get past to the Presigan unless the McLaren decides to play DRS games, but I haven't seen those games being played so far in a higher tier like this, but perhaps it could happen still, and that might benefit the guys behind. Now 2 guys at the front. Stephen Vaso is not able to keep up. He's losing even more time in turn 12, so the fight for the win is versus Campbell Adams versus to the Presigan. 3:10 separate the pair, and I think Campbell Adams might have a good runner here on the McLaren, but he's gonna make the move still, and he's gonna go try and make around the outside. Isn't going to be any contest. To the Presigan tries to fight back, but he's got no choice but to yield and go down back to second place. Stephen Vaso just barely hangs on to DRS range, but it doesn't matter anymore because Campbell Adams is gonna make it 2 in a row here in Las Vegas, and he's gonna get even closer to the championship leads as he wins in Las Vegas, with To the Presigan taking a podium, and Stephen Vaso, after his loads and loads of woes and issues, is finally back in business. He'll be absolutely delighted to even take a podium tonight in third. Tomasz Kokeny from pole position can only manage P4, but I think he'll not be too unhappy with that one either. Gregory Pritzibel will perhaps rue his strategy choices. He can only manage P5. Ryan Mottler in P6, Isaac Lead only in 7th, and Wojtek Steg had lost all of his pace, now down in 8th place, and the rest of the results you'll see in a moment.
Wow, what a race for Campbell Adams, and wow, that's exactly what he needs. The last round for him was fantastic, but I mean, today he's just been electric once again, and Campbell Adams is there. He's absolutely there. Heading into the final 2 rounds, he's got a real shot at the championship and could really grasp it with both hands. But Campbell Adams wins. It's Trudy Prescott in P2, and Stephen Vaso back in business in P3. It's Tomasz Kokeny in P4. I did start on pole position, but didn't quite go his way in the race. Gregory Pritzibel climbs back up to P5 in that final stint, but still below where he started in P4. Was it the wrong strategy choice? I mean, only time will tell when it gets to the final round and who will be crowned champion. Ryan Mottler takes P6, Isaac Lee takes P7. There was a slight incident with him coming onto the Las Vegas strip on the final lap, but didn't lose any position because of it. I think he had a battle with Ryan Mottler there. Wojtek Steg takes P8, and it's Riyad Sprogis in P9. It's Zach Miles in the top 10 on his return.
I'm looking now quickly at the standings to see how many points everybody gains. Campbell, of course, will gain 16 points. That puts him up all the way to, let's see what his point tally is at the moment, 75 points. Then Gregory Pritzibel, who finished in P5, will get 8 points. That puts up his total tally to 74 points. So that means Campbell Adams is already ahead of Pritzibel. Isaac Lead finished 7th. He'll get 5 points. That means he's 73 points. So as it stands, Campbell Adams will be your new championship leader by 1 point from Gregory, who is actually 1 point ahead of Isaac, will be dropping to 3rd. Of course, Roberts, not having scored any points whatsoever, falls back quite a lot now. And we saw him leaving the session quite quickly. So that was a nightmare race for him all the way from the start until the end of this race, qualifying included. But yeah, 2 points in the top 3 separating. That is incredibly tight. But we're going to have to talk about that after the interviews, because, Alex, we're going to have to drag some drivers in. Who's first, Tudor or Stephen?
Let's bring in Stephen.
Let's do that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Because he's back in business. The issues have been resolved. Stephen, welcome back to the podium. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? And yeah, congratulations. How do you feel?
I feel really good. This is the first race in about 6 races I've not got a disconnect, and I did a good race for once. So I'm really glad I was able to do this. So yeah.
Yeah, you said in the Discord that you had new internet. Was that the biggest issue over the last few weeks?
Yeah, for sure. Like, my internet would cut out literally like every lobby. So then I'd go, even if I have a good qualifying, I'd go to last. So then the race is over. But I've got new internet now and it seems to be working well. So I'm glad.
Yeah, of course, it wasn't only your internet that managed you to get a podium this race. You were absolutely flying here in Vegas. How did you approach this race in terms of strategy and things like that?
I just wanted to go quite safe with the strategy because I knew if I tried to go for a risk, it might not end well because I'm just trying to just recover what I can in this season. It's been quite a bad season for me, just like not part of it my fault, but part of it is just like uncontrollable. I'm trying to just recover what I can in the last few rounds, so I went for quite a safe strategy today.
Yeah, better safe than sorry after all. You started on the 3rd position, I believe, from the top of my head. You finished in the exact same position. All in all, satisfied with the result?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm very proud of this, and hopefully we can do it again next week.
Yeah, I'm hoping as well. It was quite fascinating to see you there. At the end, though, you nearly lost connection to the race lead. Was the win ever in your head?
It was, but I knew it probably wasn't going to be realistic, as I had to like hold on to Campbell when he was on fresher tires. So I knew, like, if I started pushing too early to try getting the lead, I'd just cook my tires more, and then I'd probably drop down further than 3rd. So I tried just doing what I can with my tires, even though maybe if I did save a bit more in some place, like this, it could have been maybe a P2 if I defended harder. But all in all, I think P3 is really good.
Right. Alex, anything from you you'd like to ask?
Nothing too much, but yeah, like you said, it hasn't been the best of seasons for yourself, but it's obviously good to elevate that coming to the end of the season and heading into the next season as well. What do you expect from yourself heading into next season? And yeah, without issues as such, where do you think you can climb to when we head to the 1st round?
I hope I can challenge for the top 5 next season. That'll be my goal. Like, I think it's possible if I put in the work and my internet doesn't break again. I think it's possible, but we'll see.
Yeah, and Brazil and Mexico, the final 2 rounds. What are you thinking? What's going through your mind, and where do you think you can push yourself further in the final 2?
Those 2 tracks are quite good for me, so I'm hoping we could do something similar to Vegas. Top 5, I'd be happy with top 5s in both races. But we'll just see. We'll do the practice whenever it comes, and hopefully we can do good results.
Fantastic. Well done, and congratulations on your podium.
Thank you, man. Have a good night, guys.
Cheers.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's time to hear from the man in 2nd place, who was challenging Campbell Adams all the way until the end of the race. Sudar, congratulations on 2nd place. The win was almost in your grasp, but then in the end of the final lap, of course, you were in the front. He had the DRS. He managed to do it. But how do you feel?
Yeah, just a bit disappointed that I was the win, because I could have just stayed behind for the last laps without going in front. But yeah, I couldn't do anything now, so I'll still take the P2. From P5 on this game especially, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, this race, of course, was quite fascinating to watch. You were in it all the race. How did you approach it? What did you do in terms of strategy?
We weren't quite sure before starting the race what we will do. Like, we were thinking about hard medium too, because on paper it was the fastest. But then we just went safe with medium hard, just overcutting a bit and just hoping to make some moves later in the stint.
All right. And qualifying, how did that one feel for you?
Yeah, really awful. I had some problems with my wheel, not shifting gears. So yeah, it wasn't ideal. So I just made the best out of it, finishing P5. And yeah, just hope for a good race without problems.
All right. Cheers. Alex, anything from you you'd like to ask?
I mean, what was going through your mind on the final lap? Obviously, you had to switch your positions a few laps before that, but was it all mind games from Campbell Adams? Do you think you could have done anything different and into the final few?
Oh, I think I should have just stayed behind and just let him use his tires and battery and just save for everything for the last lap. But yeah, when I saw that gap of like 4 tenths coming out of the left corner before the straight, I was sure that it's pretty much over with the win. But yeah, still fine.
Yeah, and final 2 rounds of the season. What's been your whole thoughts? What's your thoughts on your season as a whole so far, and what's your mindset going forward?
Yeah, like I missed 4 races this season, so I don't know what can I do next, but let's see.
Stuff. Well done on your P2, and we'll see you in the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. All right, last but certainly not least, I'm happy to actually have all the top 3 coming into the commentary box today to give us an interview. We're going to have to talk about Campbell Adams, to Campbell Adams, and with Campbell Adams. Welcome, I hope you can hear us, and big congratulations. Not only are you the race winner, but if our math is correct, Campbell, you're now the championship leader by 1 point over Gregory in 2nd and 2 points over Isaac Lead in 3rd. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, considering we've
I've missed I think 2 races so far this season. So no, I'm happy with how it's going at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's going well at the moment, isn't it? I mean, you've been absolutely flying last week, this week. Where did this pace come from?
I think I've always had it. I just haven't been able to unlock that pace. Just lack of consistency. Still not anywhere near where I want to be, especially in qualifying. Making just way too many mistakes on my laps. So there's still room for improvement, but I'm happy with the progress so far.
How did you approach this race? Because it's quite a different beast, of course. What was your approach, the strategy and stuff?
Yeah, strategy was always going to be medium hards for me. Track position is very key. Although there's a massive straight, it's still very hard to pass with dirty air and overheating. So always, I wasn't very confident going into the race. I didn't think I'd be able to qualify second, to be honest. I thought my PB was pretty slow, but I guess it wasn't too bad. But no, I'm happy with how it went. Yeah,
there's 2 races to go. Is the title going to be yours by the end of those 2?
Well, I will be missing Mexico, unfortunately. So I've only got Brazil. So if there's any chance, I'll have to try and get pole and win that, and hope that my championships rivals have somewhat of a poor race, but they've been super consistent, so we'll see what happens.
All right. Alex, anything you'd like to ask?
I mean, the past 3 rounds, P2, pole position, P1, P1. I mean, points, it's in your favour. Momentum's in your favour. Now, going into Brazil, do you think you're going to come out on top there as well?
Brazil, I'm quietly confident for Brazil. But then again, I'm sure there's many other quick guys for Brazil, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fantastic watch the past few weeks. So congratulations on your win. Congratulations on your past few weeks of racing here. And yeah, I'll see you soon.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks very much.
And that concludes it then. A fascinating race to watch in terms of championship especially. It's even closer now. The top 3 are at the moment fighting it out. Tom Roberts has fallen behind a little bit now. He's almost 20 points behind the championship leader. It's not a big gap still, but it's a whole big mountain to climb with only 2 races to go. Speaking of that, let's have one more look at the calendar. As you said already, Alex, to the drivers we interviewed, Brazil and Mexico remain. Brazil, of course, always a brilliant track to race at. Mexico has got one of those straights, long straights again, just like Las Vegas. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch these final few rounds with these 3 fighting it out to the wire.
I mean, it's closer than ever. It's a shame that Cam Adams here isn't here for Mexico, because I feel like it'd have been a great watch for the final round shootout. But I mean, you never know what's going to happen in Brazil. It might put a bit more pressure on him to perform in Brazil as well. So it might just hot things up for next week. But it's close. It's competitive as ever. Anything can happen in these final 2 rounds. And Gregor Pujibal, Isaac Lee, they're still well and truly in this, especially with Campbell Adams not racing in Mexico. So, yeah, momentum, Campbell Adams, final round, obviously, not going to go his way. But it's all about here what Isaac Lee and Gregor Pujibal can do to come back from not an amazing Las Vegas Grand Prix for himself, not the worst case scenario, but it's been a good watch, and we've set ourselves up for an absolutely fantastic title decider.
Yep, I'm definitely looking forward to the final 2 weeks. For now, though, we'll say our goodbyes, and we'll see you next time round for Brazil. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. We'll see you next week, same place, same time. Until then, goodbye.